Rumors spreading round in that Texas town about the shack outside the game. And you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you wanna go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice girls.
Everybody, welcome back to Backseat Broadcast. I'm your host Eric Elkins. We are doing an oldie but goodie in the V8 Supercars here. I don't know if I've ever run this configuration by this time frame. I personally with down and unsubscribe while you're at it. We're just about 3.5 minutes away from that 10 minutes of solo qualifying. Degrees out on track at the moment. A little bit breezy out there with 14 miles per hour winds. It's a little interesting. Of course, check out all the rules and regs at apexthis.racing. So checking out the times that we've laid down thus far. Kevin San Diego still holding on to that 149.1. He's pretty much been running all of practice. Matthew Smotherman with a 149.9. It's as fast as he's gone over the 2-hour session. And I do believe that both Mr. Matthews and Fendick will go a bit faster than those times represented on the bottom of the stack. So it looks like About 151, 152 we should be expecting from the drivers. Here is Kent Kruger coming through the S's now. Very high speed section. Well, I do not know if we'll get to see the entire lap. But we'll get to see most of it here, riding on board with Matthew. Through T1, getting a little loose on the rear end, which is what these cars are going to be known for. A lot of oversteer from these overpowered machines. Be very interesting to see how everybody harnesses the horsepower coming through here. It'll be a lesson on throttle control as it comes through this tricky little chicane. Very easy to get too much power here and just whip the rear end around through that right-hander. And now you're on the gas all the way. Foot down. This will be a really tricky, brave section through here if anybody wants any overtakes through the uphill S's here. A little lift around these top turns. A little bit of braking down to fourth gear here, heading towards Oak Tree. It's going to keep it in fourth the whole way. Gets off the gas a little bit early. Make sure you don't overrun yourself. Matthew running in the top Holden machine here, trying to get past a car here and complete this lap. Only 5 more seconds in this session, so we won't probably get to see his braking point for the end of this long straight here. Oh heavens, he's not going to go for the brake at all. He goes for the wall, and that will do it for our practice session. Thanks a bunch, Matthew. Anyways, and we're off. Let's get, no, we'll leave the ticker up for a little bit in case anybody cares. It's new. Everybody loves new things, right? Kevin Sandiego, unsurprisingly, out of the pits nice and early. Dry riding and the pussy wagon. I feel like pussy wagon is the most Australian term there ever was. You know, I guarantee that the roots of that term originate from that weird, fucked up island. Nice grid here. Doug Dissett coming out with the Mustang today. Richard Swindell's out on track. Let's do a lap here with Kevin. Between the 5 and 4 board, somewhere around there, let's off the gas. And there's no such thing as a perfect lap in these cars whatsoever, so you're going to see them moving around quite a lot. It's a Just the rocket ships that they are. Misses the apex of the first part of this chicane. He's going to be all over the second one to try to even it out. And now he gets on the power, trying to make up for that late braking into the first part of the chicane. Really flying through here, only really bleeding off at the top of the hill. Very brave around there, using all of the track, not afraid to dip any wheels into the organic stuff on the sides. Oh, as you can see there, he loses a little bit of traction, a lot of bit of traction coming out of Oak Tree. Before that little correction, I was going to say how smooth Kevin's steering inputs were. I think Matthew's pedal inputs sounded a little bit smoother, which are probably more important for this, but Kevin comes across the line with a 150.5, which will be decent enough, and this second lap is going to be ruined as Matthew goes a 1/10 and a half faster. And that's probably going to lose all of his tire temperature as well. Craig slots into third. The second Holden out there, Richard Swindells and Russell Elizondo are fourth and fifth at the moment. Troy Banks, unsurprisingly, and the black Mustang out there. Oh, here comes Doug Doucette, just about keeping that thing on track. Could be good enough for sixth place at the moment. Down the corkscrew comes Brian Frick here. Welcome, Brian, a new member here for us. Nick Love just sending that thing around those corners. Kevin San Diego with another off track at the moment, out down at Oak Tree, it looks like. And so that might compromise his qualifying yet again. Over 5 minutes gone so far. John Miller. Roush Racing. Ugh. He crosses the line as a man who could never even afford a Ford Mustang. And that will be his outlap. It looks like he's going to go around again to set a time. Here comes Troy Banks through the final section. Oh, he goes very wide through that one, and it's so hard to tell, like he just tipped a wheel. Matthew unable to go faster. Same with Craig, who does a 152. That's not a clean one from Troy. Let's take a quick peek at that track temp, up to 101 degrees at the moment. Robbie Campbell on track as well. Only 7 drivers. Here comes Big Dog. Only 7 drivers having set times so far. Nearly 7 minutes into it. Doug's having an off-track excursion. Here comes Mark Bray. Just needs to keep it simple through the final couple turns. So you can put yourself into the top 10 just by setting any time at the moment. And he does just that. He puts himself into 8th. That's Troy Banks coming down the back straight. John Miller coming towards the line now. That's going to be good enough for second row with a 151.481. Well done, Mr. Miller. He heads back to the pits. Kent Kruger coming down the back straight now himself. Brian Frick adds to the back of the stack. Kevin finally crossed the line into the 149s. And Matthew does go, no, he does not go faster, excuse me. Troy Banks relegates John down a row and then goes off track, as we see here. Nicholas Love coming across the line. And he's going to line up next to Mr. Miller. Ken Kruger heads for the checkered flag. And it doesn't look to be a clean one for him. He's going to be off the grid at the moment. Ty Johnson might have just enough time to squeak in a lap if he hustles. Robbie Campbell is not going to get to set a time with some driving like that, unfortunately. Richard Swindell's doing a little bit better. It doesn't look like he is good enough. Bjorn's good enough to beat Richard here, who's set some personal best sectors. With 30 seconds to go, let's see if he's not able to put himself up in the grid. And off track he goes. He puts himself up to third with that final run. Way to go, Mr. Swindells. Pretty exciting end for qualifying there for us. And will Mr. Johnson be able to squeak in? I believe he will, just with 2 seconds remaining in qualifying. He puts himself up in 5th place, just above Troy Banks. What an exciting conclusion. I liked it. I had a nice time. Hope you guys did too. Thank you, Mr. Swindells, again. We don't really have too many league prizes this year, but Richard sent me some Fanatec or rig mounts for your Fanatec wheels. So I've got a box full of them somewhere in this room. And I took one and put it on my wall. I'm pretty happy with it. It's nice having a really expensive piece of hardware not sitting on the floor. Who knows? It's pretty handy. So we are going to do a pace lap here. And while we grid, could I interest you in smashing that thumbs down button? As always, make sure you unsubscribe and hit the bell an even number of times. And just waiting for Mr. Swindells to join us on the second row. everybody comes down through the corkscrew section, the final sector of the lap here at Virginia International Raceway. And Kevin Sandiego is going to get us going here. The field will start to pack up. And there goes Kevin. And Matthew getting not a great start, as we see Richard Swindells doing quite well there in third place. Now there's a mess of cars. John Miller trying to make it 3 wide for 7th place, 6th place there. But everybody looks pretty civilized out there in these monsters, so that's pretty good to see. Some nice tight racing here as Ty Johnson, I think, is on the outside, just ahead of John Miller. I think that's Craig Ream running at the front of this little pack in the black Commodore. And the battle for the lead, Kevin Sandiego with that killer jump has a 1.4 second lead over Matthew at the moment, who's got 1.7 seconds back to Richard Swindells. And all importantly, Craig Ream is within that 1 second for that great slipstream going down the back straight here. Here's Doug Doucette trying to make a move on Mark Bray. Nick Love and Troy Banks going side by side here. Nick in the blue and black machine makes it happen around the outside. Oh, Mark Bray's going to lose 2 here as Robbie Campbell follows Doug right through. And that draft looking very powerful on the back straight on the first lap. And thank goodness my program still thinks it's the first lap at the moment. We looked like we had a little incident. It's got Doug Doucette and looks like Bjorn Benches involved. Someone else, Robbie Campbell, is spinning around on the infield there. Brian Frick re-enters the track. We're going to check out what just happened there. As we see, oh, Doug loses it, and Doug tags Bjorn. And then what happened to Bjorn, though? Why did everyone else decide to leave the racetrack? Bjorn has lost his wheel. Looked like Robbie Campbell sympathetically spun there, as did Brian Frick, but he says, no, we're going to rejoin the track. And that is just what we happened at turn 1, lap 2. Craig Ream still leading this little pack. He's got Ty Johnson, John Miller, and Nicholas Love, all quick drivers right behind him. And Nicholas Love looking very strong down the slipstream, or the back straight with the slipstream. He's already got second on Troy Banks. Craig Ream under serious pressure at the top of the hill. Everybody throwing on the brakes. Very, very close there. Ty Johnson almost making contact. Ooh, but Bjorn goes off into the grass and he loses all those spots. And oh my goodness gracious, it looked like Nick Love went darting out as well. We're going to check what just happened there. As Nick Love, for some weird reason, oh, I have no idea what just happened to him, but looked like something caught his wheel. Oh, and he just wasn't able to correct it in time. He enters the track behind Craig, actually. John Miller able to stay with Ty here. And Robbie Campbell is back on track behind Brian Frick. And he's trying to make it ahead of Brian Frick as they go into the S, as Brian definitely ducks out of that very intelligently as he was coming. And here comes Nick Love on Craig Ream there. And something had happened to Richard Swindells as he dropped down from 3rd place. He's now running in 6th. He gets on the gas and just manages to keep it pointing the right way, but he's going to lose a ton of time in a crucial section that will really cost him. And that's going to put John Miller up into 3rd as he's now gotten past Ty Johnson somewhere out there. Kent Kruger has had a crash. Those are always good ones. Down, it looks like towards Oak Tree, which is oh so very easy to do. Just getting on the gas as we knew everybody would be real hasty doing that. Here is Craig Ream and Nick Love. Oh, and Nick not able to keep it on the black stuff. Troy Banks running in a comfortable 5th at the moment. Where's my battle box stuff? As interesting as top speed is, back up top, Kevin Sandiego not necessarily able to pull away from Matthew Smotherman as that gap has stayed under 2 seconds. But it was at this section that I thought Matthew's top speed was lacking a little bit. As it turns out, it looks like it's going a little bit faster at the moment. And Ty Johnson leaving no room for John. No mistakes allowed as Troy Banks locking up in the background, keeping it on track though at a critical part. So we got Robbie Campbell here on the back of Kent Kruger after he had that little spin out. And Kent Kruger spins it and not able to recover that car at T1, which is such a doozy. And you can see these guys really fearing that S section. Troy Banks even hitting the brakes a little bit as he goes through there. Really, really cautious with these cars. You have to pay attention the entire time. And Doug Doucette at the back of the pack here. Have some sort of incident back there. Mark Bray heading to the back pits. Here he comes. And he just goes wide into the grass. and not able to get back on the racetrack, so he has to go through the pits, it looks like. Here is Ken Kruger and Doug Doucette, who were at the back of the pack. Here's Ty Johnson staying with John Miller. And Troy Banks really finding some speed here as he's closing on these on this podium fight. Oh, he's coming in real hot though, and he actually nails Oak Tree, and he's out of there at a good time. Russell Elizondo in the background there, heading for the wall though, at that treacherous off-camber turn. It's just blind as it's peaking uphill. He's back out on track. Ooh, and the Pussy Wagon looking a little out of shape there. Manages to keep it pointed in the right direction, but he's lost some time on John, and he's opened the door for Troy coming down the pit straight. Here comes Bjorn on Bryce. Bjorn has no rear wing. I have no idea how he doesn't even have a trunk out there. I don't know how he's holding this thing on the track, because the rear end is insane. Russell comes into the pits. Honestly, I was thinking about it before the race. I forgot to check. I don't know if there is a fuel stop during this race. Usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays we run one, and that's what we do. Ooh, Bryce Carter and Mr. Bjorn running away. There's Robbie Campbell in the background as well. Coming down to T1. Oh, and he just locks him up, opening the door. And I'm just curious as what the rear end of this car does as he comes up through these S's, these high-speed turns. He's taking it pretty easy. I think he is up in fifth gear though. It's incredible he's still in the top 10. Maybe the car just feels so gnarly all the time that you just don't even realize if you've lost the rear wing. Oh, and Troy gives Ty a little shove there at the top of the hill. I wonder what had happened. Oh, what did happen there? That was awfully strange, as it looked like Ty got kind of out of shape at the top there and kind of just parked it. He was going too slow, and Troy was going too fast. Troy ends up hitting him. Ty into the pits, leader into the pits, so I imagine that we have a mandatory pit stop. But we're only 13 minutes into this race. Oh, Kevin Sandiego did have an off track, but it wasn't too bad at all. You can see Matthew Smotherman in the background, probably looking forward to that. But he's going to stay ahead. Kevin Sandiego with another off track at the end, maybe here. This would have done some damage to our race leader. Sorry, I didn't pick this one up when it happened. And that happened just ahead of that crash that we saw between Troy and Ty. Kevin looks like he's going to come into the pits from this moment on, and that puts him back out on track in 6th place. But that was definitely early for a pit stop, although I saw 3 or 4 people into the pits. Maybe he felt he really just wanted new tires that badly. It's so easy to burn them up in these. And it will be interesting come the end of these races. Who still has tires left? Here's Matthew Smotherman coming in. Only 15 minutes down. John Miller is in from his stop from 3rd place. So is Troy and Craig. So maybe this is a mandatory 2-stop race. I could look it up, but who cares? Let's have some fun, as it looks like everybody's having to come in for a stop. Matthew Smotherman now coming out of the pits a good ways behind Kevin. And Bjorn getting out ahead of John Miller. Or no, he's yet to pit, excuse me, because he still has not fixed his damn car. Ty Johnson stopped a lap prior, as did Nicholas Love, as he comes around the outside of Troy Banks into T1. And Troy's going to try to fight that one out. Nick has a little wobble. I think he's going to have to lose out. Never mind, he gets back on the throttle and pushes himself up in that position. But, oh, maybe a little wide as Troy is able to sneak back with the cutback maneuver and have the inside going into the chicane. Now Nick's got to look out for Craig Green behind. As Doug Doucette and Mark Bray come in, let's take a quick peek at those pit times. It's right around 15 seconds for that stop. Which does seem kind of slow. I don't know. That seems about accurate, actually. Ooh, and Troy Banks with a terrible throttle out of Oak Tree. He's going to lose those 2 places easily. Finally comes in for some fuel and repairs. Oh, and that's Ty Johnson, who spins it around from 4th place. He's going to lose a bunch of them. Bryce Gardner doing pretty well, up 6 positions out there, running in the top 10. John Miller doing well as well, up from 7th. Nick Love is in this pack doing well himself. And that little incident that we saw at the end of the straight for Troy, putting them 16 seconds off of that podium fight with John. So they're really just fighting amongst themselves for the rest of the race, unless John does something equally wild. There's Troy locking up again at the top of the hill. And an incident back here that we just missed. And that's Ty Johnson, Nicholas Love having troubles in T1 again. Oh goodness, and here's Robbie Campbell and Russell Elizondo. Let's see what has happened between these two. Ooh, and Russell just turned it and parked it. And Robbie's able to get through. Oh, and Nick Love having a time with these overpowered cars, and we're going to see probably a little bit more of this in the coming laps as these tires start to fall off. Kevin Sandiego up top with a 5.7 second lead. It's followed by Matthew Smotherman, who has John Miller only 3 seconds behind him, so still moving pretty nicely for John. Oh, and it looks like Troy Banks had an issue himself. Just dipping those wheels into the grass. We can see how easy and detrimental that can be to your race when that happens. Somehow Matthew Smotherman picking up about 7/10 on that lap. Who knows where or how? And this time it was Douglas's turn to park it at T1, which is just the theme of the night. That turn is so brutal. And now some nice little gaps starting for these drivers so they can actually start focusing on just their driving instead of their racecraft. But with damaged cars and torn up tires, we'll see how it goes. Who the fuck is that? I cannot see. I bet he's Australian. Here's Doug Doucette trying to get that move back on the very compromised aerodynamically. Speaking Mark Bray. And there's Kevin Sandiego going around the corner now. Oh my goodness gracious. And we saw, that was Doug Doucette off track there. Bryce Carter and Robbie Campbell going door to door up the hill now. Bryce just staying ahead. Robbie breathing on the brakes to get out of that one. Kevin losing a little bit of time through that traffic. As Mark Bray heads into the pits and Doug is passed. Oh, another T1 killer here. Just nobody's hitting those break points any longer with the state of these tires. It's Richard Swindells coming up to Mark Bray. Mark's pretty cool about it, lets him by pretty easily. That's how I feel when I'm not on the lead lap. I will just park it pretty much. Like, I'm off the racing line, just go. Because it doesn't matter so much to Mark's race, where it might matter a lot to Richards. And Nick Love starting to find the track again as he's creeping up to the back of Troy Banks. Crazy to think they were both in that podium fight just a little bit ago, as John Miller has had an issue, it looks like. Let's find out where that was. Oh, the corkscrew here. Well, it tries to drift it around. And it loses a couple seconds as a result. Doug holds up on the brakes, lets him keep riding. And now that puts Craig Riememure 13 seconds behind. John did the right thing there to try to keep his car to the right, as to not slide into that field off to the left, as Troy ended up having to do. As he knew his car would slow down, got back onto the asphalt. So, quick look at the timing tower. Needs to gap to the leader. Oh, there's Mark Bray with a little off track there. Certainly getting out of the way. And 28 minutes, 29 minutes gone. We're approaching the last 10 minutes of our first race of the season. And these cool V8 Supercars. And it'll be really interesting to see how they handle Mid-Ohio, which will, we might as well be racing on ice at that point. That will be lots of fun, as everybody tries to find a setup that will stick. Nick Love putting the pressure on John Miller in the pits. He gets moving once again. But looks like Troy Banks is going to get around him, maybe make his life a little bit difficult, as Nick Love comes into the pits for his second stop. We saw Doug Doucette, looks like in the background there, having a little bit of an issue. Troy Banks got half a second on John Miller here. slightly shorter stops this time, 13.5 seconds. Looked like 14 seconds for John. We only got 10 minutes of racing to go here at Virginia, and almost seemed like Troy breathed off the gas there just to let him keep rocking. I didn't think he was going to hold him up enough to make any difference for the race result, but it looked like Kevin San Diego obviously into the pits for another time. He's coming back. Went out behind Craig Ream. And then he is released as Craig and Richard now into the pits. And a little battle for the top 10 here. Robbie Campbell sitting back in 11th, staring at Kent Kruger. Craig Ream back out on track in 5th place. Although we still have Troy Banks to pit ahead of him. Bjorn still needs to stop a second time. Troy with a great little move there, back under braking. Oh, and then the same move made by Nick Love to get back underneath to the inside. Troy looked a little frustrated with himself as he had made that move happen, and it was just getting the car turned in the balance on the left wheels that it went awry for him. But Nicholas Love looked like he's found some pace at the end of the race. In the final 4 minutes, his tires look to be working for him as he skips by Ty Johnson in a place where you do not pass. Very great moves there from Nick Love. Kind of want to see as there's Troy Banks getting drifting across the track to the left. Nick sees it coming and gets past him. There's a lap car and Mark Bray going off track just ahead of these guys. And Ty just with such a tentative exit. And but something has happened as Ty Johnson gets past him. There's a little off-track moment coming out of Oak Tree. And down the pit straight, Ty is going to lead the pack. Lead those two anyways. As here's Kevin San Diego back up top. 2.5 on the clock to race. This might be his penultimate lap here. We're just about to wrap up the final race of the season. And what's happened here as Nick Love having more issues. His love life is insane as, Ty Johnson also having love life issues. He gets back up on track, but Nick dove in deep, and there comes Troy Banks, and he is the one to lose the position as a result. So now Nick has it all to do again. I don't think Ty Johnson was hit there. No, he just decides to, everyone's spinning at turn 1, synchronized. That we were our latest victim. I wonder what that is that is throwing everybody out so hard. We have Russell Elizondo. Sorry, that's Robbie Campbell, I think. Back there whipping it around in his Mustang. As these tires really starting to fade, if we're going to have 2 pit stops a race, people might actually start to think about taking on tires, because at the cost of all these off tracks, you've got to add them up, and it's got to be over the 25 seconds for some of these guys. As here's Troy off track again there and losing the place back to Nick Love. I mean, at a certain point, you really got to think about taking tires. Oh goodness gracious, what's going on up there? Is Ty Johnson had his own bash into the pit lane. I'm not exactly sure what's going on for him. But he comes back on track in a wild manner. It almost looks like he got a blue screen and everything froze for him or something like that. Or I don't know, a cat jumped out onto his head. That is often likely to happen when sim racing. Perils of sim racing. Here's Russell Elizondo. I don't even remember who's in what position anymore. It's all been shaken up as Kevin San Diego is going to come across the line. We missed that final lap for him. And he's going to win it out here, unsurprisingly. Here comes some other people. Bryce Carter, Russell Elizondo come across the line. As lap cars, Matthew Smotherman is going to take second place. And is he out of fuel? And here comes Craig Ream at the line, who's not going to take the position from, he refuses to take the position from John Miller. He's going to push him across the line. What a nice guy. As Richard Swindell's is going to take 5th place. Craig didn't want that podium spot. John Miller was at least going downhill. It looks like Nick Luff will take 6th place as Troy Banks is going to bring it home in 7th. Loud tonight, so loud. So loud. And I don't know if John Miller is going to get the shove. He got the shove all the way to the podium picture. What a nice guy Craig Ream is. And I believe we have all of our competitors across the line. Let's take a quick peek over at our race results. That was Kevin Sandiego from pole taking the win. Matthew Smotherman followed him the whole race. John Miller completing the podium spots there. Then we had Craig Ream, gentleman of the bunch, Richard Swindell, Nicholas Love, Troy Banks, Bjorn Benches, Ty Johnson, Kent Kruger got into the top 10. Robbie Campbell, Bryce Carter, Russell Elizondo, Mark Bray, Douglas Doucette, Brian Frick, and I think those were the only guys able to finish out there. Congratulations, Kent Kruger, starting from the back of the pack, having some issues out there, I will say. As always, make sure to smash that thumbs down button. Hit that bell an even number of times. We're going to Mid-Ohio next week on Sunday, where we'll see you for our multi-class Miatas. One of our favorites here. No pit stops there, just pure racing. And it is a very, very technical track. We will see you all next week. Take it easy.